Hello, folks. Welcome to Throwback Cinema. I am the Gothic storyteller. How are you guys all doing today? This feels so kind of weird, not streaming without headphones. I've been doing this new thing with content creating because usually I always tend to kind of wear headphones. I always have like something. It almost feels like it's a comfort blanket for some reason. Um, and yeah, no, we're doing new stuff today. We're doing new stuff for February. I mean, technically, I did record last week without headphones, and I did record this morning without headphones. So like, yeah, like I've been doing this kind of without I guess saying like oh new things in February, but either way we're trying something new. We're doing something new. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday. Hopefully work was not too stressful or whatever. I hope you guys actually had a fun weekend. Uh, this weekend was very busy. Even for Sunday I was relaxing most days because I was relaxing after quite literally taking a video that is I think almost close to 12 minutes long, and I was like editing day in day out trying to get it to look right, audio, sound design. I was doing a whole bunch of other things. You guys are just gonna have to wait Wednesday for that. Unless you are subscribed to the Ko-Fi, then down below in the description are our support links. Are our support links. Jesus Christ! Actually, talking with a Texan accent is kind of hard sometimes. Enunciation's a bitch. And so is her sister. But yeah, like I don't know where that came from. But we have links down below that if you guys actually want to get the videos that I release a week early, or really just a couple of days early, then that's where you can find them. It was a lot of fun, that we had. I guess like yeah, we're gonna talk about kind of like our subtopic before we get into our main topic here. Uh, but yeah, I enjoyed sitting there and doing this video. I hope you guys enjoy pretty much what I've come out and everything. Thank you guys again for the intense growth. That stuff keeps going. Um, I feel like I'm new to this. This feels so new. Like I know I streamed last week, right? Yeah, I did. I streamed last week. What did I stream? I don't. Oh, you know what? I streamed a celebration because we were like 4 years on YouTube with at least me posting content wise. Some of the content you can access through those videos and everything, like my short film. Uh, God, that week just felt like one long eternity then. But I think that's January. January always feels like it's like 3 months crammed into one. I do not know why, but Curse of the Werewolf and everything. Why did it flop? That's going to be Wednesday's video. That's going to be the new video for Wednesday. That will drop, I believe, at 8 at night. I may actually drop it earlier and probably drop it at 7. Um, because I kind of like figured, oh, it's 7. You know what? Like most of you guys are probably at home already and everything and winding down. So you guys get a video Gothic this week and everything. Um, but yeah, I currently got the other half of February's content currently in the edit bay right now. Tomorrow I start up on the big edits today. Um, Today I actually started a whole brand new system that I actually do feel has been helping me. So I don't constantly just feel like, oh my God, like I have so many days to edit this piece of footage, but without really kind of like any structure or restrictions. I'm like, yeah, I get it done when I get it done. And that's where we get, videos getting exported the day before they should even be on Ko-Fi, really almost a week before. Should have been on like last week, but I was just going through my own thing last month. Um, but yeah, um, I'm trying to sit there and think. Thinking's hard today for some reason, but I ended up finding a new. You can kind of see it somewhat in the back here. Oh, well, it's kind of blocked out here. That off over there is another note for me to read. But the one thing that I did right down is a whole new system of where I go through my pre-production and everything. That I give myself essentially 2 weeks for pre-production, and by pre-production that means making sure that the script is finalized and is broken down into a production script. Um, and then yeah, like hunting down the media that I need for it. So then when I get to editing, pretty much day one of all of this, it's recording, editing audio, and not really color grading. Today I actually got ahead of myself and I decided to color grade, but I'm pretty sure like I might change that later on down the road. But I white balanced and, you know, it gave my video a better look, because I love this camera right here, but I do believe that this camera could actually do a lot better. I try to sit there, see if I can find like just an easy LUTs for it. And I guess they don't really make LUTs for webcams. Not all of them. Apparently there are some, but not all of them. And I forgot what brand this was. All I know is like it's like an easy, I think C960 or something like that. But yeah, like day one, it is recording, cleaning up the audio, and color grading to a certain degree. And then like the next 2 days, or me editing, depending on the length of the video, will actually probably depend on if I have to tack on like an extra day, like if I'm doing a really big major one. Um, but yeah, it's all been fun. I've really enjoyed it. And then like the fourth day is more like the finalized color grading, exporting. I think some videos I may have to like kind of put on hold from exporting. But I can like go and I can make all the clips out of it that I can. That's more or less clip day. So now I've given myself a clip day. Um, and if the video still like, you know, if the video still needs to be like, I guess say released in 2 weeks, then I'm not going to export it. I'll just sit there and save it and put a reminder of myself of, hey, like make sure to kind of keep an eye out when the Ko-Fi supporters are there, so in case if we lose anyone or if we gain anyone, I can update it, and I'm not just like having to be like, look, I'm sorry, I made this 6 months in advance, because I like to try to shoot out a video a week and try to have 2 videos out per month. That is the goal of this year, and I think I can do it. I think I can actually aim for 25. I'm a month in, and really I've only gotten out of this year 3 videos. Yeah, I've gotten 3 videos done. Yeah. Um, so I'm like, yeah, let's try to get like a video, practically almost like a video a week, because essentially my system will be running on a week by week basis. Giving myself the weekends off to edit and whatnot. Oh my god, it actually looks like I'm kind of peeking here for a bit. I do apologize, folks. I just now saw that on my mic. I was also messing around with my mic earlier. So yeah. But I'm like over here making sure everything is okay. But today, yeah, I kind of figured, you know what, I've shared you guys a little bit of my editing process. This is still going to be a very short stream. I don't really intend to kind of go the full hour. Mostly just because I have a lot more work to do and everything. So we are going to move on to our main topic of today, and that will be Charlie Chaplin. I had no clue really what to call this era in his career, because practically it's the majority of his career. So I was like, I guess I'll call it the Tramp years, because it's not his Carney years, you know, back when he worked at the I think it was the Carno vaudeville shows and everything in London, and like they traveled around. But one of my guides through this achievement was Charlie Chaplin's Versus America by Scott Eamon. This is actually a really great book. I actually got to read it a second time. And it's just wonderfully detailed. It's kind of told a little bit in the perspective of the memoir from Charlie Chaplin's book, which is, I think, rare now to get. I don't think you can get Charlie Chaplin's memoirs anymore. I think they stopped publishing that. I don't know why, because with such a big icon in cinema, um you figured that Charlie would never probably run out of print, but times have changed. So we are going to go through a certain listing here of films, like all that have come out in their order. And I actually got I got stock footage, so we are going to be switching back in between this, like, where I'm not going to try to be quite as lazy and just leave it on one screen. But either way, the first one that I really want to talk about is The Immigrant. This came out in 1917, and believe it or not, for the films of these times, I want to sit there and say I think they were making longer films, but at this moment, but Charlie wasn't. So this is like a 22-minute film. Charlie Chaplin's the tramp character immigrates to the U.S. and gets into trouble. That's practically the gist of all this. This is 2 years into the actual tramp persona. So, 2 years prior to this, which would be 1915. I'm actually trying to look for it right now. April 11th of 1915 is where we kind of get like the official tramp uh, short and everything. But at this time, he had previously had been playing this character and molding it and trying to figure it out for the last year or so. His earlier films that I am seeing right now with Making a Living came out in February 2nd of 1914, where he played the role of the swindler. But then February 7th, oh snap, that's only 5 days short here, of in 1914, it's Kids Auto Races at Venice. And this is the very first appearance of the tramp. But I think more of that character fully got developed in what it was with the self-titled short. And so here we are with The Immigrant, and at this point in Chaplin's career, he is starting to talk about politics that are like there's more than, I guess, just the politics of what we know today. Like, there's social politics and everything. And I always sit there and find when people say keep politics out of film, I feel like those are people who don't really pay attention to the story or cinema. As like there's been politics in storytelling. I know people will sit there and say there's been politics in films. All is like, well, the true honest answer is there's been politics in storytelling. Telling a story will always have some form of politic, because it either is talking about something current, or maybe that is actually super political, or it's just the social politics, the social culture. It's still a form of politic. But The Immigrant, the tramp comes over on the boat, and the first half of this I think it's a two-reeler, if I remember correctly. I do believe it was like a two reeler. Um, uh, oh God, my brain lost. The first half of this does take place strictly on the boat. The tramp kind of is smitten by this beautiful woman as they are immigrating over into the U.S. And along the way, like, the tramp kind of gets into some silly incidences. There's like one guy who uh, he looks like he hasn't had a lot of sleep lately, and so it's that, or I think he's more or less he's seasick, and he's just doing his best not to lose his lunch or whatever. And like he tries to sleep, and the way how the boat keeps rolling, it keeps rolling him into the tramp, and the tramp is just tired of like this dude running into him. So I think like he like lays thumbtacks around the dude, accidentally like has his palms stamped right into them. um all like very silly, and the tramp ends up like actually getting into gambling to kind of have some money going into the new world, at least a little bit more than what he originally had. um and there's actually quite a moment about the onboarding when they finally reach Ellis Island, and they're kind of um they're kind of going through like the process of getting off the boat and getting through the immigration office, which I'm guessing is like this, for the time it was just this little desk. um and the little desk I think was brought onto the boat, so you didn't get off the boat unless you were approved. And they kind of like huddled all the people around like cattle. I never really looked at into how they, I guess, how they handled bringing immigrants overseas. I guess through like a boat through Island and everything. I didn't really sit there and notice or really looked up any of that, but just seeing from what this film has, the imagery obviously has it where regardless if you're a U.S. citizen or not, it seems like you were corralled like cattle, like livestock, and they only let a few of you out at the moment, and that's very much the imagery that what I get. Um, and the tramp isn't really fond of it either, but he goes through it. He's like, if this is what it takes for me to be a U.S. citizen, that is fine. Um, which is kind of ironic because Charlie never became a U.S. citizen. When he came over here and he worked. Um, I'm pretty sure like he needed like visa papers and whatever to work. I'm pretty sure that was all well established in America at that time. But you can own property, all this other stuff without really being a U.S. citizen. Run your own company without being a U.S. citizen. So it's kind of ironic that Chaplin's 3 years into his USA career in film, really 3 years into his film career, um, and he's not a citizen, and he's making a film about becoming a citizen. Um, but also too, it kind of falls in line with most of the general tramp stories, where um, essentially he falls in love. He falls in love. There is this beautiful woman who, of course, he meets on the boat, and he ends up actually meeting back up with her in New York, just by happenstance. And so he does anything and everything to win her affection, to win her over, and it works to a certain degree up until the end. I think it. I kind of went back and looked at it, but I believe that I think when the tramp was trying to get to, know the woman even more, he had found. I think that she had like a wedding ring or maybe like an engagement ring, but that didn't stop him because those two were so idyllic for each other to a certain degree that she couldn't look away from him, and he obviously couldn't look away from her. And so this short actually kind of ends on a very questionable for today's standards, but I'm pretty sure back then it was laughable. Um, the tramp takes her to the I guess you would say it's kind of like mini courthouse to go marry her, and you kind of hear like these off-brand wedding bells and like an actual chime music for it, like "Here Comes the Bride." uh and he's the final gag about it is that he's constantly trying to pull her along, like, come on, like, let's go in the building, and she's like, oh, no, 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 no. And I'm actually looking at the time of this, and I was like, oh my god, there's not that much time. Is he like, is she just gonna run away and he's gonna be alone? Because generally that's kind of like how some of the tramp adventures are. It's he tries to get the woman, but at the end he doesn't. But then he goes and just picks this woman up and just walks her right into the room, and she's just like, one part you can translate to she's screaming, the other part is you can translate maybe she's laughing. I think that's kind of like the dark mystique. You don't know. It's all like, oh my god, like, what's going on here? It's a very powerful short, because I will at least sit there and say this is a short film. um I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than what I thought I was, because I had attempted to watch this and then had to turn it off because I was editing and I couldn't focus on this movie at the time. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to like set aside some time during Sunday to watch this. But Sunday I didn't have time to watch this, so I'm all like, crud, I'm gonna have to like cram all these movies, because my plan was just to have it all break off and have my brain absorb a little at a time. Yeah, no, that didn't happen. After I finished work this morning, I immediately got on HBO Max and started watching it. Um, a next favorite of mine. So I've seen this film before, but like back in film school. The Kid, 1921. So at this point, Charlie had left, or I think, yeah, Charlie had wrapped up his work with Mutual, which is the Mutual Films Corporation, which was the distribution for The Immigrant. And so this was a First National, and this would kind of be the last film, if I believe so. I'm looking at, yes. So this would be one of the last films that he did. This was like a very, very famous film of his. He would do a couple of more like Idol Class and The Pilgrim um, with First National, but The Kid I think is like one of those ones that have, The Immigrant didn't have you now. The Kid had you. This was a 54-minute film and everything. I would consider it a feature because it does pass the 40-minute mark. Um, but going back, this is Chaplin's first directed feature with First National, which is weird because whenever I go back to the other films, they always sit there and show that he's always directed these. And I've always, like in the books and whatnot, I've always read that Chaplin's always directed. Like once he kind of realized that he felt like the director couldn't get the vision of what they needed, Chaplin took over. And I guess side tangent, Chaplin was a perfectionist and he was a control freak. As much as I laugh and I really do enjoy his films, Chaplin would always, even for women, he would sit there and show them, this is how I need you to act. This is how I need you to do this. He has the entire film in his head. And there's a lot of times where he gets angry with his crew and cast if it doesn't come out the way that is in his head. And I was like, you know what? It's like, you kind of really can't have that today. You know, I mean, film's always been a collaborative art form, but in the early days, I think a lot of people were trying to figure out the film language and everything. And I think the Chaplin, he kind of figured none of these people are gonna know what the hell I want, so shut up and do what I want. It's very mean spirited. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't know if I could work for Chaplin whatsoever. I'm not gonna lie, I think I would cry. I would probably cry if he screamed at me and be like, "Ah, my God, like please don't do that. I'll do whatever you want, just don't yell at me." But The Kid is a story about an unwedded mother who abandons her child, and the tramp is left to raise the kid and be like his adopted father and sidekick. And I love this film. I love Jackie Coogan. I yeah, I believe that's how you say his name, Jackie Coogan. Very, very sad story actually with him that I'll share later at the end of the discussion. But this stars Charlie Chaplin, Jackie Coogan, and I believe this is the very first time that Edna Purviance started working with Chaplin. She could have actually started working a little bit earlier, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, okay. So like she was working with them like long before with the Tramp. So and A Night Out, yeah, is a Tramp film. So she's been working with them at this point for 6 years, and she's always kind of like been like an early leading lady for Charlie. And if I remember correctly, Edna was, hey homie, sorry, can't chat much. Cooking and cleaning. That's fine, mate. You take care. Enjoy the cooking and cleaning. But yeah, like Edna was like always kind of given some type of job. Charlie adored her. I do believe because Charlie had numerous relationships that Charlie did in fact date her, and I do not believe that they ever had children. I don't recall that in the book. She was not one of the people he had children with, but he is one of the people that after dating her, he had always taken care of his people, which is also a give to for a control freak. You know, I think he kind of knows how much hell that he gives people. And so he's like, I'll always keep you on my payroll. I'll always find a reason to need you. And I think a lot of people kind of looked over that control freak method because it's all like, well, yeah, he's yelling at me. Yeah, he wants it this way. But at the end of the day, he takes care of us. Um, Kind of a very abusive, I guess, Stockholm syndrome ish kind of thing. But you know, there were some people that constantly worked with Chaplin, and then there were some that they probably only worked on for a short bit, and then they walked out, which is fair. But The Kid, I think, is one film that everyone should at least see. It is very strongly acted, even for a child actor of for Jackie Coogan. Just the independent filmmaking from this, like even though yes, Charlie had a distributor, this was all mostly done by his production house, and a lot of his films kind of were. So he owned his own production house, did his own films. On the occasion, he would help produce and direct other films that maybe he didn't star in, like the Countess of Hong Kong, which we'll get to that another time. That's far later in his career. Um, but The Kid is just one of those comedies that anytime Charlie and Jackie are on screen, you smile. You're wondering what they're up to, what type of chaos and carnage is going to. Um, but when they're kind of separated, and we're stuck with Jackie, um, we definitely felt very sorry for the kid. Like, we know he's orphaned, and the sad thing is we know who his mother is, because this woman years later, once the baby had grown up, she had felt guilty for what she had done, and so she kind of becomes more of a charity worker, or a community outreach person. She helps those children that are less fortunate and everything. And she has like no clue, quite honestly, that the boy that is just a few like feet away from her is her own child. And even he kind of like gives her like that look of while she's cradling and taking care of another child. He's like, why don't I have like a mother? Like I have a father, I have my adopted dad, but like, where is my mom at? And it really kind of pulls at the heartstrings, and that's what Charlie does a lot in these films to come. Is what, this is not about the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude. No, 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 no. You got the wrong Chaplin in mind. I hope you're doing better. Sway Pepper. I see you changed your name. I see you changed. I hope you bounce back really quick from the food poisoning. That sounds nasty. Just hearing about it from what you had. But the kid, the kid has like a lot of heartstring moments, and I gotta sit there and say, I think The Kid is probably up there with being one of the most violent Chaplin films. Even though it's a very heart touching. There is a scene in which Jackie is being told by Charlie to go fight a kid for money. Like, there are people placing bets. It's a cockfight, but for children. These children are beating the hell out of each other, and Jackie can kick this one kid's ass. And then this one kid's big brother comes in and is all like, who the hell beat up my little brother? And, Charlie's like, oh crap, I better get Jackie out of here before we get into trouble. And obviously the big brother, the kid who got his butt wiped and everything, is all like, no, no, no. It's like, you're gonna, give that kid his lick. And I'm all like, what? And I was like, oh, that's right. I was like, lick, punch. It's like no one really kind of uses that term anymore. But either way, yeah, Jackie Coogan kicks the hell out of this kid's butt. Like, he's been trained well by the tramp, and the tramp is very much kind of upset, because what the boys don't know was that the big brother sat there and says, if your little brother beats my little brother again, I'm gonna kick your ass. And it's like, oh Lord. So this whole time Charlie's all like, oh God, Jackie, just take the fall for this one. Just get beat up just a little bit. It's like, I don't really want to get my butt beaten. And Jackie doesn't take that. Jackie knocks the crap out of this kid, and then Charlie's forced to fight the big brother, who is like this big brawny Popeye the Sailor Man kind of character. That's like I think the best way I could kind of describe that is he is like a Popeye the Sailor character. And Charlie pretty much ends up beating the guy in the head with a brick. And you could definitely tell it's a foam brick, because like, I'm like even surprised, even for back then, like with a lot of their special effects, that like, are you telling me like they didn't just actually like get like a what is it, like a gimmick brick? Because like there's like gimmick tables and gimmick glass. You have the sugar glass, which isn't supposed to really hurt you. Like, I think you could still get cut on it, but I guess the chances of like a severe cut are like very minimal, very minimum or whatever. But again, Charlie is clocking this damn dude in the head with a freaking brick, and he's running all over the area, dodging a punch, just clocking him again. And I'm all like, yeah, no, this has to be probably the most violent tramp film I've seen of the day. I haven't seen all of Chaplin's films, but I'm like over here. It's like, this is very violent. It's like, I like it. It's like I like it. Um, but yeah, I I just very much adore this. Um, and there's even a scene earlier in the film when Charlie is walking. The tramp is walking through an alleyway and someone drops like I think it was like a basket with some goods in it, and it just crashes. And I guess it's something the person shouts up at Charlie. It is the most jarring title card I've ever seen in a film. It says awkward ass. And I'm all like, how is that not censored? Because I mean, even like because this film, well, you know what, this film did come out in 21, so I guess it is pre-code. So it did get away with this because I believe the the Hays Code did not kick into effect into the 30s. So at this time, 1926, we had the jazz singer. And a lot of pre-coded Hollywood. Like a lot of people would sit there and probably think that old school Hollywood was boring. You got to watch pre-code Hollywood. There were some things that they tackled that I'm all like, wow, they really went for that. And it's like, holy crap. And like the sexualness, the violence and everything. So I'm pretty sure that's probably why that title card got away with using the word ass. So it's like, wow, pre-code Hollywood is something else. But if you haven't seen The Kid, I do strongly urge to see it. Um, its ending moments really tug at the heartstrings when uh, Jackie's character of the kid is being taken away from the tramp by the essentially by like the oh my god, what do they call it, like the not the IRS, was kind of like early CPS, the Child Protective Services, um him being taken away, and then Charlie does everything in his hand to keep the boy, but he ends up losing him because he gets sick in a flop house, and this guy takes the kid away and essentially kind of gives him off to the police, um so that they can go take him to a hospital where he can get the proper care, because obviously a flop house with a bunch of homeless people was not the place for a child to be. um and the film actually has like, god, like very close to a very depressing ending when Charlie is dreaming after he had lost his adopted son and his sidekick, that he has like this dream in which he was able to be reunited with the kid, but he knows that it's just a dream, and he ends up getting gunned down by a police angel, that essentially, everyone, even the kid, watches Charlie crash to his death, because he even shows, even a dream has to end, and I'm still, without the kid. I'm without, this person that I've taken care of for the last couple of years. And it's very heartbreaking. But the film ends on a really good, hopeful climax, because Charlie likes that. Charlie likes kind of giving us hope for the future. Like, even though we may be downtrodden right now, just give it some time. Life figures out a way uh, to ease things out, to balance itself. You may have lost someone so precious, but maybe you needed to lose them in order to gain something else a little bit more rewarding. And what ended up happening is the police do take him to the house, because Charlie, I think, believes that he thinks he's going to go to jail. And he is reunited with the kid. The kid is living with his mother and everything, so they're able to have they're able to have a life together, and Charlie can be with him as well. So it's a very, very heartwarming film. Very, very heartwarming. It's better to experience the film other than just hear someone else talk about it. Like, oh my god, it's so great. You got to see it. It's like, I guarantee you'll probably find 50 other films that have it, probably, if not more, 100 films that have taken inspiration from The Kid. Oh, the Jackie Coogan story that I was going to share. So Jackie Coogan, most of you guys may not know him from this movie The Kid, but you guys may know him from the 1960s TV series the Addams Family. He played Uncle Fester. He was the big bald head, lovable dude, silly as ever. I love Uncle Fester in that series. Um, I really, to be honest, I love them all. I really do, even Grandmama. Um, but yeah, he was a very, very famous child actor that got a really, really good second wind of his career later in the 60s. But all the money he had garnered as a child actor, he had lost it because his, I believe it's his mother and stepdad. Yeah, his mother and stepfather squandered all of his earnings. And this ended up inspiring the California Child Actors Bill, which is known as the Coogan Act. So this legally protects all child performers' earnings and everything to make sure you don't have parents like that. Um, which is kind of sad because this whole act has kind of also been reworked around because at least for my generation growing up seeing the Nickelodeon kids, we freaking found out that like a lot of kids were screwed out of their money. Like their parents had figured out other ways by claiming, even though by the time that I think the kids reach adult age, that they were not ready to inherit the funds, and that essentially they would like need I forget what is the technical term for it, but it's like a caretaker role. Britney Spears is currently battling that and everything about trying to essentially get the money that she had earned her entire career, and her family is like strangleholding her, for that. Um, I believe that there was a couple of Disney stars as well that have fell underneath that, where they had to battle their parents um, in order to get their earnings because it was rightfully earned. Um, but yeah, that's a little bit of the Coogan Act and everything. If you want to know more, you can always look it up and everything. Um, Coogan was also in the 1922 Oliver Twist film that came out the following year. That is also another good one. Having that one and then the kid back to back, 2021, 2022. That's pretty big, I would say, for a child actor. But moving on, because again we only have limited time. This one, okay, so this one I will not fret you if you've actually watched the 1942 re-release version of this, but 1925's The Gold Rush. So this is officially out First National. Moving forward, technically from 1923. Um, so 2 years after the kid, Charlie went and formed United Artists with Charlie Chaplin, obviously, Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks, and D.W. Griffith. I'll give you guys a little bit of a spin on it, but United Artists, you guys have seen some logo of them. It became defunct 6 years ago originally, but of course Chaplin did his comedies. Mary Pickford was the biggest sweetheart in all of silent cinema. Like, she was America's sweetheart at that time. A very, very important woman in film history, and she not many women ran, really not any women ran companies, but Mary stood her ground in a very male dominated film. They called her the queen of the movies, is what they called her, but she also earned the title of America's sweetheart as playing an ingenue type in silent cinema. So this woman has like touched everything from silent cinema, and she would even go on to do talkies. One of my favorite ones, if you don't really want to watch a silent cinema version of her films, which I don't see why not. She's a very talented actress. Is Night of the Hunter. Night of the Hunter, because I'm trying to find I'm trying to find the actual film for it, or the year for it. Is this, wow, really? Is this like only giving me, oh, because you know what? I just got her mixed up with another actress. I goofed. I'm thinking of Lillian Gish. Lillian Gish was in Night of the Hunter. Ooh, that was a big mistake. I better not be haunted by the spirit of Mary Pickford. I think she would not be happy that I confused her with another big starlet of the silent cinema, Lillian Gish, and she had a sister too. There was like the Gish sisters that were big in silent cinema. But my bad, I goofed. But Mary Pickford was a really important businesswoman and actress during the silent era. Douglas Fairbanks, he was the swashbuckling actor. I do believe I think he did actually some directing, but he was the first actor to play the masked vigilante Zorro in his silent film roles. And he was one of the biggest stars of the silent era. They referred to him as the King of Hollywood. United Artists was not just some small company. Uh, it it was very big. It was very big for its time, and it was a company in which um actors, actresses, creatives, filmmakers, they can come in, make their films, and they own their films. It wasn't like owned by any of the other studios like Paramount or Universal. I think at this time Paramount was going through a different name, um, if I believe so, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. And then the final founder of this company is D.W. Griffith, who is the guy who created the very first American major motion picture with all of the different sections production. He did from scripting, the pre-production, to pre-production, production, and post-production, and then sending it out. D.W. Griffith was that guy. Um, there's a lot of controversy with this man, because most of all these guys and gals from United Artists, they all come with their own baggage. But this one's the really hard one because D.W. Griffith, yes, directed the very first modern feature film, but that film would be Birth of a Nation, which did terrible, not financially, but just terrible in the meanings of how it used blackface. I mean, really, there's no good way to use blackface. But Birth of a Nation inspired and reignited the flame in the Ku Klux Klan. So I'm guessing the Klan were kind of just loosely knitted, and this film kind of brought them all together. And then his next film after that would be Intolerance, which is an answer to the critics who he felt unfairly maligned his work. But still, Douglas Fairbanks will go down for being the first guy to sit there and do the whole Hollywood system with the very first feature film. But at the same time, the backlash of reigniting the Klan's hatred, and that's kind of hard to shake. That's kind of hard to shake off your career. I'm not gonna lie to you. But either way, he's a very important figure, whether you like him or you don't. He's important to cinema. I don't much care for him, but I do recognize what he has done for the industry. I will say that I recognize it, but it does not mean that I condoned. Even if maybe he didn't mean to make this like, oh, this is a film to support racism and prejudice. Still, it just doesn't look good. And even I've seen that film a few times, a couple of times during film school, and yeah, I can't justify anyone saying this is such a great film today. It's like, it's just a piece of history. Put it in a museum and just leave it there. Let people know, yes, this was the first film, but quite sadly, it had a very negative connotation to it. But moving on. So we're now established United Artists. The next films that I am mentioning are all underneath United Artists. And while Chaplin does own all of his Tramp stuff, these films particular were ones he immediately owned. He didn't have to wait for years for a copyright to expire or anything. Like, he owned them day one. Since the day he put the page on the scripts, these were his films. A Woman in Paris would be one that he did. He had a small little cameo in 1923, but this one was more something he wrote, direct, produced, and composed all himself. He would do this again, but actually star in a film with the Tramp in the very first United Artists picture, which is The Gold Rush. Again, if you go and you watch the 1942 version, which actually, I believe is sped up quite a bit. I think they upped the frame rate of that film, because I think watching the original one, it's a much longer film. It's like an hour, almost close to an hour and a half, and I think the 1942 version, it's a little bit shorter. But if you watch 1942, practically all the title cards are removed. and Charlie Chaplin actually does the narration of the scenes. So he informs you as you're going through. I feel like maybe that could be easier for people to get into silent cinema, but yeah, no. It's yeah, no. Just watch the original 25 if you really, really want to experience a masterpiece. A lone prospector played by the Tramp arrives in a small town in Alaska in search for gold. Along the way, he finds love in a dance hall girl and becomes wealthy. Um, if you haven't already sat there and seen some of a pattern, the Tramp always has some type of love interest that he falls in love with. Um, and this one, again, it talks a lot about the social classes, about how the high social class very much look down on Chaplin, or Chaplin's character, the Tramp, because they believe themselves to be far superior because of their wealth and everything. Well, what happens when he becomes one of them? And strangely enough, his character doesn't change. He's still a very good-hearted person, while these other people have allowed money to change. So we're bookended in the story of, obviously he is a rich man. He's going to tell his story, and he kind of comes through, and we get the nice underdog story. He was a prospector trying to look for gold. The Yukon Gold Rush was what brought him to where he was. And through that, you get like this fan of just silly little incidents that he gets himself into. Uh, one of my favorite ones is actually towards the end of the film, which, yeah, I guess kind of sit there saying one of my favorite parts. I have to wait towards the end of the film, but it's when the house is nearly falling off the edge of where it's at and everything, and both the Tramp and this guy that he's shacking up with, while they search for gold, and essentially I think they become business partners, if I remember correctly. If it's the same guy, it's been a while since I've seen it. Um, but yeah, they shack up. They're trying to survive and not plummet to their deaths off of this cliff. Which, to me, I'm like, whoever thought about setting up a rickety old shack? Well, it's bigger than a shack, I would say, but it's a rickety old piece of boards, barely kept together with tape and nails. And just place them on an icy cliff. What? Huh? Where is that? Where's the genius in that? Um, there is actually genius in comedy of what could happen, and that's exactly what happens. Um, I could definitely sit to say a lot of Disney. I feel like really a lot of Disney and Mickey Mouse and everything copied a lot of what Charlie Chaplin did, and a lot of the silent cinema dudes. Um, but the Gold Rush is just one of those. It's one of those simple underdog stories. The guy comes out rich, he gets the girl, but through that he goes through all the trials and tribulations of nearly being eaten because they ran out of food, nearly getting beat up by the woman he loves, his, I guess, boyfriend or crush. Um, yeah, Chaplin goes through a lot, and this right here in the thumbnail is one of the stills from Gold Rush as well. Um, I want to actually show the least amount of Gold Rush because, to me, I actually do believe visually it's actually really good for films of that time that were just stationary cameras. Like, you only got one camera angle, that was it. Like you had your close-ups and everything, but the camera never moved like in a De Palma film where you had this crane shot that you just thought was a dolly shot the entire time. It was like, nope, it was a crane shot, and it got everything all in one go. Um, from beginning to end, it was perfectly synced. Um, but yeah, less said about this the better. But it is definitely not a coming of age tale, but it's an underdog tale, and I truly love this one. But I've gotten a few people to be a fan of this film only because they watched the 1942, because it was easier for them to absorb. They couldn't struggle with focusing long enough to read a title card, which, really, believe it or not, watching a Charlie Chaplin film, they're not that wordy. He really keeps them less wordy. It's more about the action, which is what I really enjoy, because then you can't use that complaint of, oh, I don't want to read while watching it. It's like, well, bud, there's not much to read. It'll be maybe a 5-worded sentence at max, maybe 6. but most of the time it's 1 to 3 letters. It's very quick. Like you're not gonna lose any of the plot, I guarantee you. But to each their own. We live in the you gotta catch them within the 1 second. You have to have something flash, like jiggling keys in front of a baby. I hate to really say that, but that's kind of where we're at right now in society when it comes to media. Everything's got to have explosions. Something has to happen to garner your attention. And I feel sad. Just kind of, I didn't really mean to feel like we're gonna go down a cynical path because I didn't want that, but that's pretty much what it was. Um, we'll jump further into the 30s. So at this time, the Hays Code is already kicked in. So you will not be seeing anything in these films with a title card that says awkward ass. You won't find that. Um, City Lights, I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's maybe a little controversial to some Chaplin fans. I feel fickety about City Lights. City Lights is your typical dramedy. Um, the story centers around the tramp falling in love with a blind flower girl and his on again off again relationship with this drunkard, um, just mentally not there. Like he's this wealthy guy is a he is a what's the word I'm looking for? He needs help. There's a lot. God, there's no way to really kind of quickly describe. This dude just needs help, and the tramp does his best to help him. I label him a drunkard socialite, but there's more to it than just that. But in having a relationship with this guy, he's able to sit there and be paid, and is able to become a benefactor and a possible suitor to this blind woman. A lot of the goal is that the woman is actually trying to save up money to get corrective eye surgery because she is blind, and that this potential surgery will restore her sight. Um, Very, I think, early for that. I don't even think we had LASIK eye surgery that early, unless I'm mistaken. But I remember loving this film the first time I saw it. But upon the second viewing, I think it's just because since I knew all the gags on the second viewing, and God, I watched this film, I think 2 years back, or maybe last year that I watched it. It's not a bad film. I don't want to sit there and say it's a bad film. Maybe it was just my mood today. I had just binge watched so many silent cinema films that my brain starts to struggle. Even for me, you gotta have a break. You gotta watch a Chaplin film, and then you gotta pop on uh, Tropic Thunder afterwards, and then go watch another silent cinema. You gotta train your brain to take a break every now and then. But yeah, no, I did not kind of enjoy it when I was retreading it today and everything. But I do love a lot of wonderful moments, such as the scene when the tramp is trying to escape police custody after the billionaire had been robbed, and now the tramp is being blamed for it. And so the tramp is constantly turning the lights off in the room and running around and avoiding all the police officers that are coming to the house, which, like, damn, they came really quick. It's all like, I think the tramp only called them not even 5 minutes, and immediately the police were, oh, I apologize, the police were already on him, uh like that, which I guess makes the comedy even more hilarious and everything. Is that the cops were able to come when a tramp called the police to make a complaint about a burglary and a break-in. But it's the ending. It is the ending of the film that is actually very much touching. Even though I maybe I was in some type of strange mood, but watching it, I still kind of tear up when I see the tramp has finally brought the money. He was finally able to get the money. The girl was able to have the corrective eye surgery for her. And when she finally comes back, the tramp is kind of like a little leery because he's like, well, now she can see me. Maybe she won't love me if she knows what I actually look like. And that's always heartbreaking to see films like that of that time always did that. Like, it wasn't just horror films, it was even comedies that always had the outsider that just looked different or was different in general, and they truly do believe that they are not worthy of love because of their appearance. And I just love that whole scene where Chaplin is just kind of like, it's almost like he's biting his fingers, and he's given the blind woman the glass, not the glasses, the flowers that he had brought her so she could see them. And she's all like, she's like, I know who you are and everything. And he kind of is like a little like on edge of like, oh my God, are you not gonna love me? And in the end, she loves him, and it's like, that gets you into feels and everything. I love films like that, and um uh the the weird thing about this film is it sometimes feels a little cynical in just the way how um I guess how Chaplin does certain things. They all feel cynical. I guess it's just how the world that he viewed it as. Um and because of the way how he viewed the world, especially America, what we're kind of leading up to the next time that we actually cover Chaplin, we'll actually lead into a little bit more of Chaplin being investigated by the FBI and the whole Red Scare and practically how he gets kicked out of America. Um, because again, like you look at films like The Immigrant and everything, which really, he has something to sit there and say about, immigrating to a whole new country, um, and what that is like. And then when you like look at the kid, it's very much like it's very much a commentary on society where the woman who had abandoned her child is not punished, but she does get a chance to rewrite her mistake. But because of the tramp's status in society, it is viewed that he can't have a child. There's no way you can take care of a kid. What is wrong with you? And I don't like that whatsoever. And I think a lot of people shouldn't like that, that you should not be judged on your social status, rather that is just popularity or wealth. You shouldn't be judging any status that children should be taken away from you. Um, a lot about that being said too for today. And then you look at the gold rush and you look at, the ambition that young men and even older men had, that they wanted to make it big, that they wanted a piece of the American dream, and they believed going into the Yukon Territory in Alaska was their ticket, and so they clawed and starved and did all that they could just to try to sit there and walk away with something to take back home to take care of their family. Um, Chaplin didn't really sit there and kind of look up to socialites in a way of like, oh my God, look how fancy and great these people are. It's like, no, he was always for the downtrodden, and that has a lot of that has a lot to say because of his background growing up. Um, he was homeless. His mother had developed some late stages. I don't even think that it's even schizophrenia, but I think they did talk about it in the book that it was possible schizophrenia, because she had an STD, and with it going untreated, it went to the brain, and she had to be institutionalized multiple times. And Charlie's brother Sid was on a boat doing work to take, money back to the family, or to wire money back. And the entire time, Charlie is trying to avoid the workhouses because he sees how depressing and nasty and dirty that it can be. And he didn't want to be one of those kids. He'd much rather have been homeless. And, you know, um, Charlie and Sid's dad didn't want to sit there and take care of. He didn't want to take care of Sid. He was willing at one point to take care of Charlie, but Charlie and Sid refused to break up their brotherly bond, and so the father took none of them in. So when the dad died, Charlie and Sid did not leave a place marker. He's buried somewhere in the UK. Whereas their mother, they had an understanding that she did the best that she could for them. And even Chaplin will even go out there and sit there and say that, the best actor to him in life was his mother. And uh, that's a lot sitting there saying. Sid and Charlie took care of their mother very, very well. And even when she died, they went and they left a marker. They left a marker for her. She's buried in some cemetery in Hollywood, near a famous person. But she has her right to fame, even though she didn't get a chance to become famous like her sons did. But her sons carried on her legacy, and a lot of that background, um, in a lot of these movies, you'll see it very much reflected in Chaplin's childhood. And it's why he always wants hope, because even for him, when he was downtrodden and homeless and all this, he ended up becoming a major figure in cinema. He was famous. He had all this money and he was able to take care of those that he loved, because as a child he couldn't do that. So he compensated for doing that as an adult. Um, but yeah, uh, I don't really have much to sit there and say about City Lights, but I do have. I'll try to actually wrap this up because we're actually at 7, and I have a writers meeting. The meeting is myself. This is like later on tonight, so I don't want to rush, but I'll give you guys my very quick thoughts on Modern Times. Modern Times still speaks volumes today. The film is definitely about how the tramp does not feel like he belongs in modern times, in which factory workers constantly work, go home, sleep, wake up, go to work. They're in effect almost acting like robots themselves. And there is commentary on losing humanity within the industrial era. Because I want to sit there and say, like for one, we're already well past like the beginning of the industrial era, and we are leading ourselves up into the America's involvement in World War II. Because I believe 38 was when Europe and everyone were dealing with Hitler at that time. Uh, but modern times, 36. Okay, so you know what? Like, I don't have time. I don't have time to look up a history lesson. If you guys can correct me in the comments below, you guys can correct me. I'll let you guys sit there and do that. But modern times definitely has a lot of commentary on being a factory worker, union jobs. So being in a union to protect workers' rights and everything, so that workers are not screwed by their company. Authority, I would say high society as well. The tramp fits in none of these categories, and every time that he attempts to do something, he ends up accidentally becoming an agent of chaos, messing everything else up. Even if he does kind of mean good by some things of, yes, like he ended up joining a union so that the other workers and himself can have rights and not be mistreated and overworked to the point of death, which I'm pretty sure that's what people did back then. Chaplin was very much against that. Chaplin was, to me, just an outsider to begin with. And I think Modern Times very much shows that, because even with the love interest that is in that film with him, which is not Edna, but Paulette Goddard, who is another person that Charlie yelled at her a couple of times, but Charlie loved working with her. He was infatuated with her. So he he constantly kept her on and everything, but she is the other half of him, the very free-spirited person that is told by society that her place is at home being a mother, but she refuses and wants to be a waitress, and I think an actress as well. I didn't get a chance to watch this movie today, so I'm really pulling at memory here. But yeah, the whole film has a lot of commentary on just where America was at that time, and how Chaplin's tramp character just did not he does not exist in that world. That world is not for him. And that eventually, by the end of the film, when the tramp is walking away from us, the viewer, down the road, he's not alone. This is a very cynical film, actually. It's very, very cynical worldviews of it. Some of it may be, in a sense, exaggerated greatly, but it was still, it was just the fact that Charlie just didn't want to live in that kind of world anymore. I guess you can kind of also look at his commentary on filmmaking, is that you're constantly going through the ringer of, once you finish a film, you have to get the next one ready, and you go through the whole process all over again, very much like the whole process of what the tramp goes through with the gears. But Paula Goddard and Charlie Chaplin walk away from the screen together. They are hopefully going to have a happy ending. We do not know. It's very ambiguous, but all that we know is that they were able to walk away from the craziness of the city, of society there, and hopefully trying to find a new home elsewhere. Um, and I don't know. There's just something about this that I really enjoyed. I always thought that I was going to be a city person, that I was going to enjoy living in the city. I enjoy living in the country. I like the peace. I like the quiet. I hope maybe the one day have a lake house and be like, I just want to be on my boat, left alone to write whatever in the middle of a lake and just be at peace and everything. And that's what a lot of this film is about. It's pretty much going through all the chaos, being an agent of chaos just to seek peace. That's what I took away a lot from this. Um, for Chaplin fans, what do you guys think of these movies? This is the last film, because this is actually the last film that the Tramp character actually exists, because it won't be next stream. I'll wait a little bit before I do part 2. But the next stream, we will be covering 3 Chaplin films. One in which has elements of the Tramp in it, but not really. But we'll be tackling World War II's, I guess you would say biggest film. I wouldn't sit there say it was propaganda, but maybe to some it probably is. But The Great Dictator, we'll be covering that. We'll be covering a film that came out 7 years after The Great Dictator, Monsieur Vidal, which everyone hated. They didn't quite understand what he was doing. They wanted funny Chaplin back. And at this point in his career, the Tramp was dead, and he wanted to do something else. And then 6 years later, after that film in 1952, we would kind of end his we would at least say that this is the end of his American run as a filmmaker with Limelight, which is probably one of his best films ever. We'll figure out another time. I don't even know what I'm going to discuss next week. I'll let you guys probably know by the weekend. But yeah, we'll sit there and we'll tackle some of these other films and everything. But thank you guys again so much again for being here. Thank you, Horror, for being here. Thank you, Steven, for popping on by. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the lurkers. You guys mean a lot too. Thank you guys again for the support here on the channel. The fucking channel is popping off. It's killing it. You guys are awesome. Thank you. I feel like there's not enough not enough not apologies, but like praise that I could give you guys for helping me get here. But I appreciate it. Again, next time I guess you guys will technically see me is Wednesday night. I'll have a new video drop Wednesday night. I'll probably actually drop it at 7. I feel like 8 maybe it's become maybe a little too late because I've started dropping my shorts at 7. But and I really need to go drop a short right now. That's not code for anything. I mean, quite literally, that's content creation. But yeah, like we have a new video that's going to come out Wednesday night. The Curse of the Werewolf. Why did it flop? It's a new entry into our Hammer Horror, a retrospective series. So this pairs with the Baron Hammer Frankenstein video that I released back in early December of last year. So yeah. You guys are going to start getting one of those episodes a month up until I think it's April. I have it as like a very limited series throughout the year. So you guys get Hammer for a certain amount because really I can only cover so much Hammer before I want to beat my head in with a hammer. Thank you guys again for being here. I'll see you guys if anything, I'll see you guys next Monday and everything to chat about whatever comes to my mind, whatever film that has come across my desk that I want to discuss, or maybe whatever genre. Maybe I want to tackle a genre next time. I don't know. You guys sit there and drop some ideas in the comments below. Help me out here. I much appreciate that as well. Take care.